Um, yeah, so can't imagine. I've had episodic starts and stops. When my contracts are bound in government or municipalities, it could
Hmm.
be a simple change of administration that could waylay a contract, and I could be on the hook for 4 months waiting for my payment to come through. You know, I've been able to live through that. I know how to do it. I know how to buffer myself. After 12 years, you better have a plan, right? You better have a plan. I
Yeah.
think about COVID. So when you think about starting a business, you have to ask yourself, what do I need to know in order to make certain that I'm ready to move on to the next thing? No one on this call, or even yesterday's call, but there are some people in my business model from last cohort. They'll figure out whether or not their products or services are actually market relevant. COVID-19 will cause some displacement on some things.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Oh
it did.
yeah.
There are some things that will no longer make your product relevant. For each of you
Hmm.
on this call, that's not the case. None of you have to worry about that. You just have to be able to write your business plan so that you are beyond COVID-19. And let me preface the conversation. The only person who may have a challenge is Cherish. Miss Pleasant is the one that's going to have a challenge. If she was thinking I need to have 8 people in my, adult daycare or my foster care home, that may look real different with COVID. They very well may not want 2 people in a room anymore.
Like I said.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's a reality. That's a real reality, especially when we know elders are the ones who are being adversely affected with this craziness, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you have to plan that level of resilience into your business. You don't have an option. That has to be part of the food for thought. But everyone should at least marginally consider the thing called an exit plan. I think it's timely, it's useful. Like I said, I've been at this for 12 years. How many more years do I have or do I want to have at 48? Will I still be doing this at 60? Will I still be doing this at 70? Will I have to? What will the market tell me?
Yeah.
There's some things that you need to sort of figure out. So let's go through an exit plan. An exit plan, if there is still a market, or sorry, is there still a market for your products or services? Things transition. I can only imagine the type of business or businesses like a gym. With the gyms not being open, imagine there is a woman in Detroit who owns 3 gyms. They're like gym, yoga studios, biking, whatever, whatever.
Hmm.
Daniels is real cool. I love Amina Daniels. I helped her get her business off the ground, and I feel for her. I can't even pick up the call. I can't pick up the phone to call her. I cannot.
Hmm.
I cannot pick up the phone to call her because she went big.
Okay.
She's been open for less than 2 years, or just about
Hmm.
2 years, and she's into her third location. Imagine the debt that she's incurring with the gym when the governor won't let you open it,
Right.
and it's been shut down since March 13th or 16th.
It's
Hmm.
That's a scary situation to be in.
Very much so.
hmm
I'm just thinking about all the debt. I'm thinking about the landlord relationships and what they're saying to her. I'm thinking about the number of memberships or subscription services that are all just falling off the wayside. I'm like, oh my God, what kind of reserve did she have to have? And how much of it did she burn through immediately?
Yes.
right.
It's terrifying.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
not
because
that,
it is hard, terrifying because the governor, they were supposed to open up on a specific day. So they were preparing to open up that specific day for the
and
gym.
then she
I remember
changed it.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
And she was in the news. She was on the news. I saw her and I was like, I'm not calling her. I'm not saying nothing to her because I ain't got nothing to say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
you
sorry for
should
you.
probably need to hear from you.
What I'm gonna suggest?
And
She make me cry. I'm like, I got no answers. I got no solutions. Got nothing.
Right.
I mean, I told everybody try to renegotiate or defer your lease agreements. Tell them that nobody else is coming behind me because everything is closed down. You know, I'm a good tenant. When things get
Hmm.
right, I get right too. But other than that, I have nothing to actually suggest. Imagine if you were the person who decided to take a big whop of your money and you're going to go chasing. And Chaz could probably talk to you about this. Decided to go chasing after rental properties, residential rental properties. What happened for the last 3 months? What's the moratorium going to look like when, or if they choose to extend it?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But Wells Fargo is calling you, and Bank of America is still calling you. Got the debt to fix it up, to get it ready, to renovate, have you this legacy business, and who would have told you that real estate is a bad investment? Nobody.
No.
Who ever told you that having rental properties is not going to pay for itself? Nobody.
Nope.
Who could have thought that?
Right.
And I know a lady who actually has 27 individual parcels or pieces of property between Flint, Pontiac, and Detroit.
Oh, Lord.
She hasn't collected rent on any of them.
Wow.
Oh.
Because the governor said there will be no evictions, there will be a rent moratorium for this period of time, and people who are getting $600 checks,
Right.
pretty much said to her, peace. Later.
Yep.
Catch me if you can.
And then I read something, they got some type of grant program for evictions or something.
Yeah, so United Housing Commission is doing that, but that's regional. That's only like in Detroit. And Pontiac will have one if they have one, and then Genesee will have one if they have one. Imagine if you were at 27 units occupied and 27 of them you anticipated having rent. Point, do you know hardly any of the grants that have come out? All 20 of the grants have come out. Most of them are not for people who own property as an investment property. Right. They weren't even able to participate in all of the assistance in the market.
No.
But here's the thing, because I also work with investors. I do some property management for a few, and all of our tenants are paying.
That's beautiful.
This doesn't negate you not paying. You just can't live for free.
Yeah.
What it is negating is that you won't get evicted during this time. But let August 15th hit and you haven't paid. We're gonna see where them $600 checks then went to.
And Chas, that's the reality. But how many of you can afford to not? How many property owners can afford to wait to see?
But that's what I'm saying. They can't just stay for free from month to month. Like I said, I have one person that has to go out of 28 that I'm holding on to for this one investor. And that's because we've held them accountable for paying their rent.
Yeah, the mentality is there. And you probably did a better recruiting, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I can tell you, Ms. Knowles and Ms. Pamela Chambers and a couple other people are having a heart attack because nobody's paying that rent. I got to switch to my hotspot because I can see my connection breaking up.
There you go.
All right. Sorry about that. I don't know all this money I pay Comcast and still I get sucky service. Tell the world.
Yeah.
Tell the world.
Tell the world.
I mean, I find it awfully amazing. You wrote a business plan. You came up with all this good stuff, and then things happen. But if you can see past right now, there's still opportunities for you to check whether or not the market is still relevant. Sometimes the market conditions or assumptions you made when you first decided to launch a business may no longer hold true. So you objectively, and here's what I'm going to tell you. I say assess. Let's just say assess. The real deal is you don't make a decision based on what happened in March or what happened in April or what happened in June and even July. You make a decision on long-term expectations. So if you've got the coin, the pocket, the capital to ride this wave, you don't need to go run and hide. I'm not suggesting that. It is when you know for a fact. I've seen fewer and fewer and fewer or more degradation in this landscape or more declining clientele, or I'm on just the type of business. It's looking a little crazy. So exit plan, when is it necessary? The author says there are some fundamental assumptions underlying whether or not your business is valid. Goes on to give an illustration about an auto repair shop, goes on to talk to you about a bakery, goes on to tell you that if for some reason you're starting to look at the trajectory, because guess what? All of a sudden, people are keeping their cars a little bit longer. So an auto repair shop needs to have the right type of tooling in order to actually service different types of cars. You're not getting the old types of cars. Now you got this new method of cars, and cars are lasting longer, and blah, 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 blah. If you don't upgrade or innovate, you can find yourself needing to create an exit strategy. I'm going to say this to you. I had someone talk to me about their cupcake and desire to have this great bakery. As a matter of fact, you sort of saw some of it in the business plan in session 6.
Yes.
You guys look at different business models and dialogue about next steps and all that good jazz. I'm telling them the carryout function is probably super great, but actually opening up the bakery end is probably not as useful as they really initially thought it was. I'm thinking, go ahead and source other restaurants. Go ahead and do the prepped Italian meals and let people come and buy them. But I don't know that you need to have 120 different types of special baked goods.
Right.
I'm afraid that has taught us that people don't want to sit around and have delicious, nice little cupcakes because we don't want to migrate like that. We don't want to congregate in spaces like that. I'm kind of thinking,
yeah, not anymore.
Whole community, you might have to change up that business model a little bit, especially when the cupcakes are like $5 a cupcake.
Yeah.
Well, they're higher end. They're a higher end product. But if you get more and more unemployment, high end products sit on the shelf.
Right.
Right,
A long time.
You get about 20 of them for $15.
You see, but they're selling these, miniature cupcakes. These things aren't even big, but they're really cute. They're really like authentic Italian, different types of, specialties. And there's probably a real population for it, but do they all live right near this brick and mortar? How far are they going to travel? And is it cute anymore when people are concerned about being a mixed company? An exit plan is necessary when you've decided that you can't cut all your costs. If you're in a situation where you can reduce your out-of-pocket expenses, so for most of you, you don't know Lori all that well because you don't get to talk on that level, but I think she's got one of the best ground games I've ever seen. She's like, we do everything, we piecemeal it, we do it based on what we can afford. We save, we do this, we do this, we do this, do this. So you don't have, when you piecemeal things like that, you have very little that you can scale back on. So April is in a position where she's now pulling out all her samples and she's ready to go big. She says she's not going back to work. I'm not going back to teaching.
That's right, April.
What'd you say, April?
Oh, period. Is that
Period.
But
No,
let me,
like
I want you to have that same fervor. I want you to be super excited and exuberant about your space, but I want you to do it in phases. I want phased business operations, and there's a reason that I'm asking for that. Phased business operations give you a chance to pivot in the event crap goes sideways. In the event something goes a little different. And that way you're not completely on the line. Did I lose you? Am I freezing up?
A little bit. Yeah, you're like going in and out.
No.
I got horrible hotspot, I guess, and even worse. Verizon's been telling me that I don't get any more super big megabytes, I guess, or gigabytes until tomorrow. So anyway, because I've been using it for the last week because of Comcast. I'm paying them and using Verizon. I can't believe it. So anyway, you're going to get to a position where you have to figure out how to stay afloat. And one of the easiest things you can do is cut costs, right? So traditionally, believe it or not, for me, July is a very light month financially.
Okay.
Wise, it is a very light month. Although this year is keeping in par with what it was last year, only because I don't have government contracts to actually service at this moment. So I'm only floating on the little bit of business that I'm actually bringing in through individual relationships and all that jazz. So I also do this in July. I make certain that my people take weeks off in July.
Okay.
Right. So they're not going to hit my payroll all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Victoria just came back on today. So that meant from the 1st until today, she's been not on payroll.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb is only working 20 hours a week. I'm not allowing him to work a full week. And I'm going to consistently do that during the course of this crazy space until I can figure out how to weather this crazy storm.
Yes.
Payroll is my biggest expense. I'm also looking at, okay, can I roll back the expectation to be in a physical brick and mortar? I mean, we now have gotten very oriented and comfortable with the Zoom platform. So, see, I have methods that I can use to, I mean, if I got rid of the rent, that's $1,500 a month I can cut out.
Yes.
I've already cut payroll by $1,500. I mean, I just saved the business $3,000 a month. What else did I cut? Oh, I called Comcast. I reduced the services by half. So that's $150 a month. You see, I'm giving you real time to plan for that elasticity that may happen in your business operation. We'll have peaks and valleys. So I've cut my energy to some degree. I'm definitely not getting on anybody's airplane and going anywhere. I've reduced the number of people that I actually pay in 1099 capacity to support other spaces and things that I'm doing. And if I had to, I could sublet my current brick and mortar spaces, asking for somebody to pay the rent if I found that to be useful.
Okay.
But I have a question, Laura.
Okay.
I mean, you're already up and operating. How do you phase into the business when how?
You mean how would a startup phase in?
Yeah.
Easy, right? So for me, Chaz, yours is different because you're capital intense. You must have a physical location. You have to do all that front capital on the build out to have individual suites. But you have the capacity to do this. You could pre-sign your tenants in advance of the building.
Right.
So you can pull the capital in and use it and borrow against it. So it's not your money.
Okay. Which I had anticipated doing.
That's what I would do.
My letter of intent kind of serious. Okay.
Yep, I would be asking for a certain couple months of deposits, maybe even.
Okay.
And if they pay more deposit, more money for like maybe instead of paying a first, second, and security, I maybe ask them, if you pay me for 6 months, I'll give you a percentage off. Ways to incentivize it without using or burning through your own money.
Okay.
It's gonna be in the refrigerator for you.
I heard a baby.
That's my grandbaby.
So in addition to cutting costs, you should double your efforts to collect any money anyone owes you. If you're in a position, and none of you are, I can't imagine as startups where you're allowing this to slide. But let me tell you, there are people who actually allow their accounts receivable, their aging to just get outrageously old. If somebody hasn't paid you in 30 days, be on the case. To them or says to them, obviously it's not that important. Collect your money.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So here's something that I created, and I absolutely stand by it. I know it to be real because I've done it myself, not once but twice in 12 years. If you still believe your business is relevant, can you outpace the economic downturn? Can you wait it out? Can you do in order to stay active as a business, but maybe on a life support version of business. Call it hibernation. There are things you can do to just marginally exist, just sort of try to wait it out, sort of like just let the whatever this burden is pass me by. To hibernate means that you need to have still some visible, maybe footprint. Maybe you don't have your brick and mortar anymore. If I was a bakery and I could use the cottage kitchen law, or if I could use a commercial kitchen somewhere else, I would get rid of paying $3,000 a month for a bakery, and I would pay $180 a month, right, to use somebody else's kitchen. And then, you know, sell the products or whatever. But if you're in a position to, if you're thinking through that and you're in a position to do something different, Walter could hibernate. Nobody would even know he was hibernating.
Right.
He could hibernate and no one would ever physically know that he was actually hibernating. Lori could hibernate and nobody would know she was actually really hibernating. Lisa can hibernate. Well, man, yeah, you can, Lisa. You can hibernate by reducing your hours. For you, instead of being a Monday through Saturday or Sunday operation, you can say, I'm Thursday through Saturday only, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday by appointment.
Okay.
Right.
Have you really considered that e-commerce thing? That's so huge right now.
Consider what now?
Sell it online.
E-commerce.
Yeah, I do sell online. And I didn't tell y'all, but I actually been up at the market on Puritan and Greenfield selling my t-shirts, my clothes, my purses, and I've been making a killing.
Oh, you been at the Greenfield market? I should have started.
Yeah.
Good.
April came up here. I've been making a killing actually.
All right. That's
All right.
You've been out there hustling it up, Lisa?
I've been hustling.
That's right.
grind.
I've been grinding, and it's working for me, honestly.
Good.
Now, see, that's a hibernation. Even if you had a brick and mortar and things were getting real slow and you just looked at the rent, the expenses of running an actual physical location, it would not be a problem to go back to street sense.
Yep. Yeah.
Just to stay active, just to stay in the market. Arlie could not hibernate. What she could do certain lines or supply chains, she could reduce the number of supply chains links that she has, but Arlie actually could not hibernate. It's either
when you say hibernate, do you mean the person or the business?
Oh, the business, honey, for sure.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say I'm not gonna be. It'll be online.
Sleeping. I don't want to
so
sleep.
it'll just run itself.
Right. So, April really couldn't hibernate. She could reduce the number of products that she has, but she can't hibernate. Lori could. Definitely. Miss Pleasant could not hibernate. She could not tell 3 of the people, y'all just go over there and sit down and be quiet. And she's not in a position to hibernate. We have a horrible connection because all of you look like you're frozen.
Oh, really?
And my head is the only head that's moving.
We can see you right now. We can hear you.
You
We're
said you
missing
can't.
one other person. We're missing. Did she not come?
Oh.
One with the wellness spa. What's her name?
Yeah, Sierra.
yeah.
She's missing.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
It's freezing a lot because mine did that too.
All right, let's get through the rest of this. Have a hibernation strategy. Try to figure out a best way to actually stay active without being active or 100% active. Another time or reason when you might want to consider exit plan, and this is real talk. I'm going to tell you, when you wake up and you dread and you hate getting out of the bed to go do this thing that is supposedly now your lifeblood, your lifeline, when you wake up and you want to just go back to sleep, or you would, wish somebody would hit you so you can call your Affleck account, or when you want out of this mess, it is time to consider your exit plan.
Yeah.
Because when it's no longer fun for you, that means it's fun for nobody else either.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't feel it anymore, you're not exuberant anymore, you're not excited about it anymore. It's just a dead weight around your neck. If you're no longer motivated, they say that a disgruntled business owner or entrepreneur is one of the worst people.
Oh, yes.
No matter the amount of money, it doesn't satisfy them. That's a huge problem. That's a real big problem, and that's something you should consider. I know a guy who started a transportation company. He's just overly fed up with the fact that he can't get people to pass the drug test. He's overly fed up with federal regulations. He's overly fed up with the number of employee turnovers and the number of them who don't want to drive during COVID. You know, he's sick and tired of them being sick and tired of listening to everybody's complaints. He said to me, Lord, this is my last year in the business. Somebody who wants to buy this shit, I want out.
I've heard it 1,000 times myself.
Are you serious, Chas?
Oh my God, you know I come from commercial, so I know about 1,000 business owners. They want out.
Oh,
They-
yeah.
Out.
Yes.
I don't want out now.
Out.
Like,
Home health care.
I feel sorry for those teachers because there's a lot of parents ain't gonna let their kids go back. Because I'm considering schooling my 8-year-old because I'm scared for him to go in there and the kids got it and bring it and there go transferring. You know what I'm saying? So it's difficult. It's very difficult.
I totally concur. I'm looking at the number of places and spaces that are talking about COVID up increase and blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
It's the norm is not yet normalized. So it's going to before
It's not.
Right.
We're going to hit the second wave yet.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The first one.
now they're talking about a mutation. So I'm real confused.
People won't sit down. It was 1,000 people at that beach. I'm like, Jesus.
Hey, y'all better know I'm one of the ones who have obeyed
Me
right
too.
here.
Me too.
I ain't been at no beach.
Me too. Have you failed to make a profit after 5 years? Now look, I told you at the opening that there's a woman who's been at it for 20 years, and every time you try to tell her she doesn't have a business, she has a hustle. She could tell you, you know, she's been successful as a business owner. She's never gone out of business. I'm like, but you haven't actually made a profit. The whole purpose of business is for it to return profits to its ownership. You haven't been that person yet, but everybody has their own definition of profitability. And not everybody uses the IRS standard. For our conversation, I use the IRS standard.
Yes. So do I.
And there is a distinction between hobby and being a profit-driven business.
Yes.
There is a distinction. And I actually believe that each of you should look into yourselves and decide what is going to be my benchmark. Can I get at this for 2 years? Is 2 years good enough for me to burn through this and not make a profit? When should I turn a profit and consistently be able to pay myself? When is that necessary? I'm not talking about breaking even. I'm talking about being in a position where I can now stop all these other gigs and make this my full-time gig, or I can devote my time and energy to something different and I don't have to be at this all the time. I think that's very important. You should come up with your own timeline and your own litmus test for when you have had enough and when it is time to do things different. Barbara Cochran on Shark Tank said that you are missing your opportunity to be successful when you are spinning your wheels on things that are pulling you in no direction. And I think that's very important to recognize. You may like it, but it may not like you.
Yes.
Right.
And it's imperative that you know that when the time comes. If you decided that, okay, yes, I've been at this thing, it's sucking up all my money, or I'm no longer enjoying it, or the market has changed so drastically, or here's COVID-21, or whatever. God forbid there's a COVID-21. But if there's some other pandemic or anything else that has happened that may cause you to be in a position to need to consider winding down. There is a right way to actually do it. And so now I'm going to turn this part of our conversation over to Arlie, our resident attorney. She's going to teach you the right way to shut down your business. You ready, Arlie?
No, Laura, not at all. Absolutely not.
I'm like, okay, go early. Go early.
Oh, she just playing. We didn't discuss this.
I know.
I know.
If you decide to
Yes, winding down. Yes.
if you choose, are you going to do it, Arlie?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
All right. So the goal here is to make this transition as smoothly and cost effective as possible. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm in a very bad situation where you met Miss Coakley and a few other people, and collectively in that group of people, we have over now 2,100 businesses that'll go out of business in the Wayne County area.
Wow.
And that's a complicated process to help people figure out how to wind down correctly. But there are some benchmarks and some things that you can do, or you should anticipate. And just being fed up and mad about the whole damn thing is not the way you do it. You just don't be like, fucking, I ain't going back. I'm sorry. You don't just say, I was not supposed to say that.
Back. I'm not going back.
You just don't say, I'm done, and boom. You cannot do that.
I'm out.
Forget these people. You can't do that. You have to do what is called the articles of dissolution. You have to do a certificate of termination. If you are a corporation or LLC, depends on which one you are, you're either going to do the articles of dissolution or you're going to do a certificate of termination, because you have to tell the state that you are no longer actively in business. When you do that, there are some other things that have to happen too. For one, remember, you have to open up that business bank account, and you needed to have that legal form of organization to secure it. You're supposed to make sure that you do a legal notice by telling all your debtors, your vendors, your employees that, okay, here's the situation and here's the effective date. We'll be going down, we're winding down, we're doing this thing. I happen to know a few people who just decided to take what they had, they considered their own. They were like, I haven't paid myself for 6 months. I'm taking this. Nobody else getting it. It's my turn this time. I'm taking it.
Oh, man.
Actually, it's not. It's not yours. You cannot.
No.
In order for you to dissolve appropriately, you have to pay off those debts, the lines of credit. You have to make sure that you've paid your payroll and all the correlating taxes that go with it. You need to make sure that any permits that were issued or anything else has been dissolved or turned in or terminated. Yes. You cannot just take the proceeds and run off.
No.
You're supposed to actually go to the IRS, and you're supposed to close out your employer identification number. There's an actual form for you to do that. When you do it, the IRS does a query to find out what W-2s were issued against that EIN, so that they can make sure that the right withholdings have been held and that you have made all of your final returns. Even beyond closing your business out, they don't care the date that you close it. You still have a tax cycle that you have to go through. And they want to be sure that you paid all those taxes. So you better make sure that you have all the right necessary withholdings before you attempt to just wind down the business. So you really do need an accountant and an attorney if you yourself have not been really good with your record keeping and can't anticipate what those costs may look like. A building is permitted to the actual facility. The permit will be for you to hold it, but it is permitted to that location. So the permit does not travel with you. The permit stays with the facility. I happen to know that there are some janky people out there who will find and do a search on the permit and try to occupy a facility without taking their own, because they assume that the permit is transferable, and they're right and they're wrong at the same time. The only way it's not transferable is if you cancel it. So all the fees and taxes that were assessed on the permit should be made back to you if it was an escrow. And if you owe, then you need to pay it off and then cancel it. Make sure you notify everybody if it's in your supply chain. Okay, I'm no longer I know you send me 30 days worth of supplies every month. Please don't send me past this month because we're winding down operations. This is a very difficult call to make. I've never had to make the call, but I can only imagine everybody you're doing business with that you have to call them and send them legal notices advising that you're going to be in business. That's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
Complicated upfront conversation because it makes you vulnerable. And to be vulnerable is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Business owners aren't vulnerable. They're slayers. They're the ones who make the world go around.
Right.
And to have to be out of business, man, that's a complicated thing.
Yes.
It could be quite hurtful. And for all intents and purposes, that's the end of your presentation. I want you to know I don't foresee anybody on this call ever needing to be in that position. But it is a realistic expectation that you choose to exit. You may say, Chad said she knows a lot of business owners who said enough is enough. What is your exit plan? See, I don't have an exit plan because I'm going to work until my fingers fall off. Beyond that, my son runs my Flint location. And my nephew, who's in business school now, he's planning to come back to Michigan, and in the next 10 years, he wants to actually run the Detroit office. When I opened up Baltimore and I opened up Buffalo and I opened up Gary, Indiana, my intention had been to grow the enterprise, but COVID has changed some things. And so as a family, we're going to have a whole nother conversation about what best practices is, because as the eldest child in my family, I wanted to leave a legacy. That legacy may no longer be the way I intended. I wanted them to be able to pay me out and for me to have a nice retirement.
I know that's right.
That was my intent. I'd sell my properties. I'd make them purchase the company as a whole from me. They finance it and let me out the door and take all the contracts intact. But my exit plan has to be somewhat different, and I don't know what the future holds. Mm-hmm. I think I'm seeing virtual reality being something that's going to be in my wheelhouse for a minute, whether I want it to be or not. Mm-hmm. I think virtual engagements are really what is going to actually be. Ms. Pleasant, you may choose to still do based on your compassion and your desire because you're an RN and you love these people and you want to love on these elderly folk. Let me tell you what I did last week. I don't know why, but I woke up after listening to a segment on NPR. It was like in my subconscious. I woke up and it was, let us find people to do wellness checks for the elderly. Let us have someone, and I don't want adults. I want young people between the ages of like 11 and 17. Mm-hmm. 17. And we assign them an elder person to call and do a wellness check. Mm-hmm. And I want it to be intergenerational because I'm hoping that the young person who calls will learn something from that old person. Mm-hmm. It just so happened, Ms. Pleasant, that I saw that there was a grant 2 days ago that came out, and it was for elder support care because they just did a survey that found out that they're dying not from COVID, but from depression.
Oh, God.
And lack of access because they're alone, they're isolated, they're terrified, and can't come out of their houses.
Yeah.
So you may consider, Ms. Pleasant, bending your business model or migrating just a little bit so that you can still have that caring hand that you want to have in a different capacity. Maybe you get a group of nurses and contractually they all have a group of clients that they just do wellness checks. A storytelling, you talk to them, you figure out how they're doing. I think each of us will have to have some level of innovation because it's just absolutely necessary.
Miss Pleasant, I'm willing to work with you. My parents is 84 years old, and I check on them every day. Every day. Yeah.
I think there's really
I'm willing to work with you on that to make sure, because it is a lot of people out here that ain't got nobody to care for them, and they older.
It was a really big segment. It was a really big segment, and they were saying that nobody's calling to check on them. They can't see their doctors. The doctors are only doing virtual visits,
Right.
and nobody's. So I mean, they've just been alienated, totally alienated.
Laura, where do you tend to kind of monitor to look for grants and different programs?
So you can go to grants.gov.
Yep.
Grants.gov is a great one, but you could also follow Detroit Wayne Mental Health Authority. You can follow that organization. You can also follow HHS, the Department of Health and Human Services.
Yeah.
The closer you get to those decision makers, the more prevalent you are, or at least you'll know when something's coming down the pipeline.
So you kind of cut out a little bit at the crucial moments there. You said follow HHS, follow what else?
That was it. HHS, just get to know some of those caseworkers or people who are in administration. They post a lot of stuff.
And they'll direct you. I'm a certified medical assistant, Ms. President, but I'm also a home health care. I'm certified for that too. So if you do decide to do that, reach out to me, and I am certified to help you.
How nice. All right, so look, we have wind down the part that I needed to talk about for the exit strategy. Nobody on this call is going to do exit strategy, but I do want everybody to think about phasing in your operation. And I would love it if you could also consider your timeline for, if this crap ain't going right, what do I do? How do I go back to the drawing board? Because it's okay to do that. It is very much okay to do that. Are we still breaking up?
A little bit.
A little bit, but not bad.
All right, so
Question, Laura.
I'm sorry?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So what if you were feeling like that pre-launch?
What?
Like, well, some days I'm like, so do I want to wait till January? Or do I want to wait till next August? Like, with this COVID situation, like trying to see what the world looks like.
Okay, so let me tell, Arlie, I happen to have talked to you more than I've talked to anybody. And I think some of what you're saying is rooted in reality. And some of it is rooted in,
Better go play ball.
And what was that?
In the unknown.
Right.
The unknown is a formidable beast, and there are no real answers for that. But you need to design your supply chain. You still need to move on with getting your labeling done. You still need to get all your distribution networks in place. You still need to find your anchor opportunities. And if you feel or find that when it's time for you to get to the door and check the oxygen level, if it doesn't make good sense or look like it's too turbulent, then that's when you know to pump the. You'll know then, but you need to consistently move through your business.
So just still work as normal.
You will know, Arlie. You will know when it doesn't make sense. When they decide that the only products that can move from Amazon are PPE, or if they decide that the only distribution would be for essential needs only, if they got to a part where they're actually going to sacrifice consumer products, then you're in a position where you go, okay, it makes sense for me to pump the brakes.
Okay.
But
I go
hotels
back and
are still
forth
open
every day.
Yeah, you'll know because it's no guesswork here on that. You'll know. The problem is,
go ahead.
The problem is you may end up holding inventory for a longer period of time because you need to buy it in bulk, and it may take a minute for you to move through that inventory, which is okay. That's fine. It's also okay for you to get to a point where it's in such demand that now you got to, push yourself a little bit harder, Arlie. That's cool too.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a great opportunity for a lot of us to prepare everything kind of in a very low risk zone. It's like you get to kind of huddle back and prep everything. And then when that moment comes, you're like ready.
Boom. That's right.
You know what I mean, Arlie? It's like if you have your logo, if you have your packaging, if you have your supply chain, if you have your plan, if you have your business plan, and you're like, then it's like all of a sudden when the time is right, you can go in a week or two instead of saying, oh man, the time is right, but I still need 6 months, you know? Like,
Right.
Yeah, especially, but that's true for those like Arlie who has employment.
Yeah, it depends
For me,
on the person. Yeah.
Yeah, the time is like now. I had to strike.
Yeah.
I felt like I took a loss. I bought a lot of clothes back in January. When I got my income tax, I got a bulk of clothes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, you know, how I'm gonna get rid of this stuff? But then when the world started opening back up, this what people didn't understand. When the world started opening back up and everything was wiped out, Walmart, Burlington, people start coming to the boutiques, coming up to that market, bank. So most of the stuff that I had got when I thought I took a loss, I got rid of it.
You will have starts and stops. Every business will have ebbs and flows. You will have peaks and valleys. It's going to happen. We all have it. Like I said, July is typically my slower month, but in the midst of COVID, it's trending as if it would last year or a year before that. So I'm learning that this may become my new norm, and I reshape my expectations around my new norm.
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of the business owners that I've been speaking to are saying that because they are learning to operate with less, they're saying, okay, I can keep operating with less. Like, I would say about at least 60% of the people, business owners that I'm talking to, are like, you know,
if you figured it out, if you figured it out, absolutely, Chaz.
Yeah.
Where this is my valley, it's typically my valley. It may become the benchmark. I'm not thrilled about it, but I can live in it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled, but I can live here. I just got to be very, very mindful and cognizant of my other expenses, which means like where I'm at right now, why am I paying, $100 in rent? I need to dump both of those offices, right? I need to reduce the hours that I pay out in payroll. Each of you will come up with that system for yourselves. Each of you will. April, you were saying something.
You know me. I was planning a lunch party for my birthday in October, but no, it wouldn't be feasible because, that's probably around the time the second wave would come. But of course, I wanted it.
No, April, stop playing. April, listen, Diva, listen. I would suggest that you find some influencers and you get that product in their hand, your launch party in October, and ask everybody to give ample feedback. So scale it back versus it was going to be, I'm going to rent Taj Mahal and tell all my friends to come and I give everybody a basket, to something altogether different. Put it in influencers' hands, schedule a meeting, maybe have somebody host it, and create your online launch party as if it was a virtual launch. You can do that and give them an opportunity to give real-time feedback, and you can start taking orders right now.
Oh, that's good.
I would do it before the winter. I think the second wave gonna come when the winter time get here. So I would do it before then if it was me.
Well, she said October.
Yeah.
But you can start taking orders now, right?
No.
No, I don't have my products yet. I'm sampling them now.
Okay.
So,
but the people that you get the samples to, we could order now, right?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't selected my
sample group.
No, not the sample group. I haven't
selected products.
My products yet.
Let's talk about the graduation. We got an hour. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of launching, I'll be emailing you guys. We're having a bunch of outdoor shows next month.
Oh,
fantastic.
Okay, cool.
We'll be there.
Shows.
You got a little Shakespeare?
Okay. No, it's going to be all comedy shows.
Oh, that's even better.
Okay.
We need that.
We sure do.
We all need a laugh.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I sent you guys, or sent Arlie, and I thought it was a group text about having us meeting up at a conference room, a conference space in Southfield. And Laura was like, no, that's not what I thought. The space was not the issue. Let's discuss it. So I don't know about you guys. I'm fine with everything. I just did Arlie with this menu. I just can't see myself eating it outside. That's just me.
Well, it will be in carry out containers.
I get it, honey, but I'm not trying to fight a fly over my food.
I ain't trying to fight a COVID.
You can take a bite, close the lid. Take a bite,
Look,
close
Chaz,
the
I'm not
lid.
trying to fight a COVID.
Yeah, I'm not. I would be more comfortable with outside versus inside.
I'm not
with
doing.
the majority. I'm with the majority.
Yeah, I ain't going indoors.
I think outside's the way to go.
Chaz,
Yeah,
I haven't
outside's the way
been
to
to
go.
church. I haven't been to church. I haven't gone to any.
Me either.
Holly has Pastor Holly at Little Rock is not my pastor. He has a meeting next Tuesday. And he said, how much can I pay you to come to this meeting? I said, you don't have enough dollars unless Jesus Christ himself anoints them.
Amen. Amen.
Okay, I get it. But y'all talking to somebody that has been in it. So I was like, oh, that'd be nice. But okay, I'm with the majority.
So how do you guys want to do it? Okay, let me tell you what Monday night is doing, because it may stimulate you. You may like it, you may not. So they are going to Belle Isle on Monday. And they're going to go right across the street from the Giant Slide, the little middle.
Yeah.
And there's a corner spot, and they have 2 people in the class who's going to go and anchor it, set it up with the chairs. They've got a backdrop. They're going to park all their cars, and they're going to social distance. They're going to let their family members drive by and blow the horn, and they're all going to be stationed in their chairs. They all with their own things. That's their graduation. They think they can do it in about an hour. I love it. It's great, but I mean, you got 2 hours, but whatever. What is your plan? I like Stokely Park. That's fine. I like Belle Isle. That's fine.
I said the ain't it an area right there by the fountain? Like, ain't it a place where you can sit? Yeah, we can even do the fountain. The fountain's pretty. But Stokely Park is nice too. You talking about on Evergreen and yeah, it's really nice. They fixed it up really nice. We can even do that if y'all don't want to go all the way downtown.
And it's in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Everybody okay with Stokely Park?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm flexible.
Cheers.
Everyone sent me their menu selection, correct?
How much do I owe you some money?
Right, that's what I said. Do we need to donate anything?
No.
I think I sent it to you, but we was all in a text. So did you get mine?
No, I got yours. I think I got Miss Taylor. I'm not sure if I got yours.
No, I haven't done it because I'm not sure if I'm going to be in town. That's why I didn't send it a menu or anything, because I didn't want to put anything because I'm not sure if I'm going to be in town.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, how dare you?
Well, just send it anyway. Because if you are in town, you know, and if not, I'll eat it.
Okay.
Deborah, how dare you not be in town for your own graduation? Who told you?
I didn't plan it that way, but something came up. And
Okay.
And
Look, my brother is going down to Pigeon Forge next weekend. Right. And I told him, I said, when you come back, know that you can't come back to the family house. Period. If I catch you at my mother's house, if I catch you in there touching my parents, your babies come to visit, I know where you live.
Right.
Well, listen, my brother just got back from Mexico.
Oh, Lord.
I said, boy, listen, a $200 flight round trip nowhere can get me nowhere.
Right.
I don't understand it. It's the mentality. I don't get it.
Yeah.
He was like, we've been cooped up all this time. Now his wife is a radiologist and he's an electric.
I know. Did you see that pressure?
You guys don't have good sense between the two of you. Do not come to the family house. I don't care who else out with you. Don't come to the crib. Do not come.
Right. So I'm gonna bring some cupcakes. Like I said, I got some strawberry cheesecake, raspberry, and Oreo. I'm ordering them from my cousin, and they're so delicious.
Okay, well, you guys can count me in for beverages or something. So I'll bring like, are we having adult beverages or what are we doing?
You can't have them at the bar, can you? I don't think you can.
You can. They got takeout drinks now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yes.
Well, I should
Got
make
a
it.
cup with a lid on it.
Yeah.
Do everybody drink?
Right.
Do everybody drink?
I don't even drink while I'm still talking. I don't even drink.
I don't
Oh,
either,
wow.
April. April, I've been off the wagon for about 2 years now.
You ready?
So we're gonna have water.
I had a drink.
Lisa, what is that?
It was, look, okay, so I went to a party, but it was social distancing, right? And so they made these drinks in here, and it was so good you didn't even taste the liquor. It was Malibu rum, it was orange juice, girl. It was all kind of fruit.
The
I was
bucket.
so lit. I'm telling you,
What is a bucket?
That's a bucket.
yeah,
That's
it was so.
That's
I'm telling y'all, it was so good. It was so good.
I'm sure everybody kept social distancing in mind after that, huh?
They did. We actually did though. We actually, and everybody had on their mask. They did. They did. They really did. But they didn't want the police. It was actually somebody that passed away, and it was her 50th birthday. She
Okay.
passed from COVID-19, so they gave her a big birthday party. But it was really nice. But they made the drinks, girl, and these. Boy, I was told up.
Ooh.
Yeah, we won't be having Lisa's bucket drinks. Lisa, we'll have those after class and when world opens back up.
Yeah.
Sit with you.
Yeah.
Have those.
But you know what? It wasn't a lot of liquor in there, but they did have Malibu rum in there, and they had a lot of fruit. It was so hot Saturday. They had a lot of fruit in there. It was so good. It was really good.
Lisa, listen, Lisa. You can't have alcoholic beverages outside of controlled environment per the Michigan State liquor law. So,
No.
Lisa, no.
Too bad, y'all. No, but if y'all want me to bring some fruit, I can bring some fruit. Y'all want me to bring some? I promise I won't put
Fruit
liquor in.
soaked in Malibu rum.
No, I'm not gonna put no rum on it.
Wink, wink. Lisa, bring me some of that.
I'll just bring the fruit.
Right, fruit. Bring me some.
I will bring some fruit.
Yeah.
But it ain't gonna be no liquor in it, I promise.
So listen, wait a minute, guys, seriously. So it's gonna be next Tuesday at Stopo Park from 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Somebody will have to go out there and stake that out because, I mean, the kids are out and they might be sporadically out there.
So I drove by the other day and just kind of looked at Stopo Park. The picnic table areas they're fixed to the ground. You can't move the picnic tables and they're kind of far apart. So as far as us being able to like kind of sit together, not obviously social distance, but in kind of proximity.
In that area, right.
We need to bring like camp chairs or
Yeah.
picnic.
Yeah, I got my lawn chair.
So bring
Lori, if they brought like what, 3 or 4 chairs, 3 or 4 people, or do we need more?
I would say if just everybody brings a camping chair, because the picnic table is small, right? So only like 2 people will want to sit at the picnic table anyway, maybe if you're social distancing.
Right.
Have a camp chair, a lawn chair, just bring it. That way we definitely have enough.
And we'll be spread it out.
Yeah, if one or two people don't have a chair, then that should be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
I'll bring 2. I got 2.
I'll have your certificates with me.
Aww.
You're not getting
I
a
want a
plaque?
gold star on mine.
Right, I need a plaque.
Me too.
Right, they should be framed.
I need
I do with
fireworks.
a piece of spare
Fireworks.
paper.
I'm gonna bring musical instrument noisemakers so that
Yes.
everybody can have one. I have like all kinds of noisemakers and musical instruments.
Laura, you gonna keep in touch with us, ain't you?
Of course, no choice. We have our email address.
Lisa, here's the deal. You need money and you're not going to Matthew without me because I will absolutely hunt you down if you make a phone call and I'm getting your stuff put together. I know Victoria says she's still helping you with your business plan.
Yep.
She's like, you can't lay me off. I'm helping Lisa with her business plan.
Yeah, you
Right,
can't make her
Victoria.
off.
That's right.
I'm just playing.
I emailed Matthew. He hasn't called me back. He hasn't emailed me back.
Which one?
Matthew.
That's not uncommon. He's probably inundated.
Mm-hmm.
I need to reach out to them. I haven't did it yet. I need to reach out to them.
Emailed both.
I actually strongly suggest you don't. I think what they want is for me to tell them which of their, at the end of our class, we usually tell them which candidates are ready. Lending, and Matthew was only concerned about lending. So if you're asking him for anything else, he's going to just refer you to someone else anyway.
Okay.
So you see,
judges, but neither one has replied.
yeah, I can tell you that unless Marcus,
Yeah, they didn't. The one guy he replied, but the two young
Marcus
ladies
shouldn't be under the gun, but I know that
I'm sure they're very.
Shante is interested in reaching out to you, and Kira wants to reach out to you because we talked at length about your business in particular. She's doing procurement, and she really thinks that she can make a connection with the Downtown Detroit Partnership.
Cool.
For some of what you're doing. So anyway, yeah, there's some options. Oh, and by the way, did you guys see the revised DTE pitch competition application?
No, I didn't see it. What did they say?
I didn't even read it. I just know they made some adjustments, and I told them to send it to me, and I just sent it to both classes.
I filled out the application.
Did? When did you send it?
They delayed the application
Either
date.
Sunday or a Monday.
It was Monday because I filled out the application, so they got my information. I'm just waiting to hear back from them. Yeah, I want to try it. I want to do it again.
I can tell you this right now. You guys are going to need to be ready for your pitch competitions. You're probably going to end up pitching multiple times.
What?
Every time an opportunity crosses my desk, Arlie, I'm going to send it to people who I think would be fit. Arlie, sorry.
Hopefully not me.
Well, if it's for grant money, count me in. Count me in for grant money.
It's all grant money. It's all grant money, right?
I'm here.
How many of you are familiar with the Chase Hatch?
I think I've heard of it.
They just gave away $60,000.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I wish I was in part of that.
But that's different though, because it's existing business. It's like a social media popularity contest. That one, right?
Yeah, but it's not for existing business. It's for even for stuff that are going into brick and mortars. So if you're going into a brick and mortar,
okay,
it's good for
well,
you.
when I looked it up though, it was like you had to have a lot of people on social media.
They want you to be. It's a popularity contest, exactly.
It's a popularity contest. Yeah,
it is a popularity contest.
I would have won that. I would have won that.
I would have.
For you. How did you find out about it, Arlie?
Well, my I like to call her my brand manager. She knows everything about everything.
Okay, you need to share some of that stuff with us.
I mean, well, she'll say to me, she has a lot of clients, and she's like, oh, I applied for Motor City Match for her, or I applied for, Chase Hatch, so stuff like that. But that was like a while ago. She told me about that. I looked at it and was like, I didn't. But yes, when I find out about that stuff, I will be sure to email everyone.
Yeah, because I just sent you something.
You did. I have to check that email.
It was with the
except for when I saw that you tried to message the whole class. So
no,
I
this
forwarded
one was for a program with WBE, and they're paying $100. They're paying $100 entry fee, so something like that.
Okay, thank you. I'll have to check that out.
Laura, let me ask you a question. Yeah. What if you don't want to do any loans, but do you know any grant? Because after talking to those judges, I don't even need the amount that I was asking for. I need like 10,000 to do a space. If I'm gonna do the pop-up, do the space for like
if you're gonna ask for something like 10,000, you can do a Kiva. You can do a GoFundMe. You can do a Kickstarter.
And those are grants.
Those are funding.
Crowdsourcing.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I want all grant money, Laura. So keep me in mind for that.
Tomorrow, the biggest grant that we've had in the county to date, the biggest grant we've had to date will come out tomorrow.
That's the one you sent us, right?
That's the one she hasn't told us about.
It goes out tomorrow. It's active tomorrow, and it's for.
Oh, she emailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, she did. Yeah.
No, that's the DTE.
No, the one before.
No, it was the.
Before
Yeah,
that.
I didn't get
It's
the
one that
DTE
come out
one.
on the 15th, from July 15th to August 6th or something.
It's called the Michigan Great Start Grant Program.
But it seemed like it's for
Existing. That's why I said I didn't give it to you. It's for existing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Here you go, everybody like, oh, okay.
I would do the loan because I'm not asking for that much, but I'd rather not. But I will.
Don't.
Laura said no.
Lisa, I want you to be able to turn your sales. Your inventory should be converted to liquid cash so swiftly that you can fund your operation in phase one. You're not ready to do that. Your business is practicing its process, so you should be able to convert inventory really quickly so that you're liquid enough to pay for future inventory and all your expenses.
Okay.
I think that I'm gonna have to move forward real quick with the grant. I mean, with the loan money from ProsperUS because I have to get the space.
And what's real good about making ProsperUS the lead contract or loan is that they'll defer your payments for like up to 6 months to give you a chance to get all your tenants in. But really want you to get to a point in a place where you've collected that pre-capital, those are the accounts receivable in advance. That would be awesome.
Okay, I just did my CRM and came up with 200 over like 220 people, 220 people that had reached out to me for space. So I'm sure out of those they want space.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Have you found the building?
I go look at some more space tomorrow. I fell in love with the building down here. I knew I shouldn't have went. Oh God. Girls,
Hey, Walter.
It's an entire floor with a deck overlooking the water.
Oh wow.
Girl, I have to kill some of y'all. Insurance policies.
That lake.
Hey, Walter.
The river.
That's the river. Oh, Detroit River.
Yes.
I would like for you to start your programming for open office hours effective August. Trinity Tax Solutions should be offering open office hours for just 15-minute consultations.
Okay.
For anybody, business, personal, whatever, so they can ask you questions pre-tax, because season is going to, if it flips back around to April 15th, you have a really short window since tomorrow taxes are due, right?
Look, I'm laughing because I'm like, oh, I got till tomorrow. I need a consultation. And I filed an extension. They extended it to the 18th, right?
Yes.
It's tomorrow.
The 18th. No, they extended it to 18th.
Tomorrow is it.
I thought it was the 18th. I thought it was Thursday.
No, tomorrow is it.
The 18th ain't even Thursday. I'm crazy.
I'm about to say the same thing.
And check this out, Walt. I checked my bank account and the state already cashed their check.
Oh, for real?
Woo!
They must be hungry for that money.
Yes. That's why she didn't want to close no casinos. They want to stop the lottery and nothing else.
Oh, Laura, I am having the hugest problem opening up my business bank account.
You have your LLC and your EIN?
Here's
It's
the
just getting an
problem.
appointment. I'm having the same problem.
Legally, my name is with one S, so on my license it's one S, but everything else is two S's. And they're saying because of the high fraud level, everything is going through.
Yeah.
They won't let me open up a business account.
Yeah.
Did you talk to Mr.
What about on your birth certificate?
It's one S.
All right,
But
so
they go with the Social Security Administration, which is my Social Security card, which has two S's.
Did you talk to Mr. Jackson?
Who's Mr. Jackson?
Marcus Jackson.
Marcus from.
No, because
I was only saying if you have a talk to him directly as a banker, maybe he can kind of tell you how to get around.
The only way to get around it is going through the Social Security Administration.
Who's closed.
Or or getting a form to have
Let me
people who
stop
know
recording.
me.
Let me stop recording this and I'll tell you
Yeah,
how to get around it.
yeah.